Ladies and gentlemen, Alpo Martinez is no more the New York legend that he is and continually was. Alpo, street legend, myth, the boy wonder, 13 years old, exploded to fame. Alpo Martinez, ladies and gentlemen, he's no more, but this is his story. This is the story of a New York hustler from the trenches of them deep-rooted Harlem streets. The man who changed the game for all young dudes around him, where you didn't need to become an OG or be an OG. You made your own ways through the streets, through the ins and the withdrawals. That's who he cemented, Alpo Martinez. Today is not the glorification of someone who told it once upon a time ago, someone who did atrocious things once upon a time ago. Today is just a mindset in going into the life of who is this guy, who is the one they call Alpo. Alpo, the block star, superstar of all the myths and wonders of the world. Alpo Martinez. Long live the legacy of what once was, if it could be said. Until then, I'm your God bless one. Let's start the video. Let's start the show.
He was a larger-than-life figure who seemed to defy death. Fox 5's Lisa Evers goes over who he was and why he might have had a long list of enemies.
He was one of the city's most notorious drug dealers, famous since the 1980s for his murderous ways and mountains of cash and drugs, immortalized in dozens of rap songs and the movie Paid in Full. But it all came to an end for Alpo Martinez right here on the streets of Harlem, right where it all began. These are exclusive photos of Alpo Martinez on previous visits to Harlem in recent years. But his latest visit turned out to be his last. On Sunday, about 3:20 a.m., police were called to Frederick Douglass Boulevard near West 147th Street. A dark red pickup truck crashed into parked cars. The driver was shot 5 times in the chest through the car window and killed.
I heard 5 shots, 1 and then four consecutive shots after that.
It was Alpo, but his driver's license and other IDs had his witness protection name of Abraham Rodriguez with a Lewiston, Maine address. The murder scene stretched for blocks up to 151st Street. Alpo had been given a new identity when he was released from a Colorado Supermax prison in 2015 after serving more than 20 years for 14 murders. But instead of lying low, he couldn't seem to stay away from New York.
He's been seen riding around Harlem most of the time. You know, he's been seen down in Harlem a lot.
In addition to the murder convictions, Alpo was widely believed to have turned on many of his former associates in order to shave years off what could have been a life sentence. There is no shortage of people who may have wanted payback.
Other than him being who he is, there seems to be a thing with guns going on that everyone's, you know, it's getting out of hand with the guns. Everyone seems to have a gun right now.
Sources tell me that Alpo may have been shot while sitting in his car further down the block and then tried to drive away to escape. Investigators will be looking at forensic evidence as well as surveillance video to get a clearer picture of what really happened.
Now, Alpo Martinez, we know this guy is one of the legendary faces. Whether you like him or not, his name is probably going to ring bells more than the celebrities you've watched over the years. Alpo Martinez, who cocaine dealing empires stretch from New York to Washington, D.C. At the height of the bloody drug turf wars, you've seen the things that transpired with Alpo. I mean, it was like turf war had lasted for over 3 decades ago, and he was shot and killed in Harlem early Sunday, according to a high-ranking police official. The police said that a 55-year-old man who was shot several times in the chest, chin, and arm while sitting in the driver's seat of a Dodge Ram on the West 147th Street near Frederick Douglass Boulevard. The police, who also spoke on condition of immunity, said because he was not authorized to disclose the information, the man identified as Mr. Martinez. And the reason why they couldn't identify it, when you join the witness program, they give you a new identity to go with. They give you a new alter ego, whatever you want to call it. But Alpo clearly was not a man that was shook Alpo clearly was not a man that was in fear of things. Alpo did what he wanted to do. Now, these are some of the things. Now, they said around 3:30 a.m. this happened. Now, this is deeply different. You gotta understand, man. Rich Porter, you feel me, and him were making a living. Mid-level crack dealer who sold about $50,000 worth of crack. That was Rich Porter. And then here comes Alpo. He was adapting there, Devin. Like he was swift with the ladies. You know what I mean? He knew how to hustle as far as just the spirit and souls of people and taking them away. This was who Alpo was, you know? You can call him a mindset of a genius, but the man played chess with people. Now, we know he was born June 8th, 1966. And he was basically a Puerto Rican descent from the city. He rose to prominence in the mid-1980s, and he expanded his journey. Now, while serving a 35-year sentence for 14 counts of murder at ADX Florence, a federal supermax prison located in Fremont County, Colorado, he was released after testifying against former associates and has since been living under a United States America Witness Protection Program. But we know that Witness Protection Program can't do anything with Alpo. We know that. Now, Martinez was indicted on federal drug charges in 1980 with two other men. The indictment against Martinez was dismissed when he remained a fugitive, basically, at the time near the trial, which began November 1991. According to the affidavit, Nathaniel Watkins, Rich Porter's cousin, that is, Martinez co-defendant, you feel me? Martinez co-defendant basically in the Alexandria, Virginia case. He told FBI in 1989 he was present when Martinez gave $300,000 to a fellow drug dealer in Chrysler City, Virginia, a hotel room, instructed a man to take the money to New York. And these things are just furthermore things you're going to hear that told. Now, it's a lot of slick talk and a lot of things I don't want to go into because you can still open indictments even though this was years over, it's done with. You don't know what things you can open up through these crevices. Now, 1991 when he was arrested, it was a lot going on. Even in the Don Diva magazine when they spoke about the incidents with Alpo, we know about the brother and what they did, but I mean, it just was a whole lot. He was found carrying identification by the name of Abraham Rodriguez. You know what I mean? Abraham Rodriguez, of course, is the name that we know. Now, what I'm going to do is go through these clips and listen to what Alpo had to say.
Then you still did 25 years. So what did that tell you? I'm not promoting being a rat, being a government witness. I'm promoting you get locked up, you do what you gotta do. I know some more in there 50, 60 years right now. I know people who I talk to and they say, listen, this, that, and other. Listen, you do what you got to do. I don't promote being a rat government witness. I promote do you. Because the code of the streets, that's where you're gonna get poked up at. Because there is no code. Because what code is that you kill your mother or your mother because you're trying to get at him? I didn't live by that code.
Okay.
So where the code at? I need the rule book.
All right. But that's what I'm saying. I want me and you to sit down and do a full-blown joint where you defend what you say. I want you to defend.
Listen.
No.
I'm gonna walk
and
on my truth. And because at the end of the day, you call me a rat, government witness, whatever. Don't ever forget,
you're a
I'm
man.
still a man.
You know what I mean? But that's where I'm at. So, you know, I want us to sit down because I want the youth to really hear both sides, how this thing is played out. I don't want them to, because if you don't, then use a rat and use it this and use it that. You understand what I'm saying?
For the youth, man.
Yeah.
For the youth again.
Yeah.
I'm not promoting being no rat. I'm not promoting being the biggest thug in the street. I'm promoting do what you gotta do and be the best at it. Fuck the government witness, fuck the rat shit and all that. I'm not promoting that. Don't ever think I'm promoting that. I'm promoting I did what I had to do for me. And I stand on it because I'm a man.
Now, that's why I'm what he feel and stand on what he stand on. And that's it.
Let's talk about back in the days real quick.
Talk about it.
The 80s.
Talk about it.
I ran these streets. I ran with these streets with Unique and the other people. When the wolves was out.
Oh, tell them again.
When the wolves was out in the 80s. I ain't never had a problem. My favorite cars was convertible. I rode convertibles in the 80s. Not hard tops, convertibles.
Tell them how we got the convertible. And then they could decide what they want to do. You know.
Because what determines being a man? That you do 40, 50 years? What determines that? I don't know. What determines...
Now that code of the street situation, you hear Alpo saying there is no codes to the streets. All these things are a myth. Well, Alpo was showing a lot of the times how he felt these were a myth through the situations.
Destroy my character to the streets, that who I'm trying to talk to make it look like I was a snitch, so that they can't hear the message. Because who want to listen to a snitch?
Yeah.
So that's when I've, questioned who are these guys. Maybe they're all one, trying to.
CIA.
Thing, you hear this, you hear that. I don't know. I don't have the.
And the process of putting coke in that town, I wound up meeting some cats named Kirk Bone.
Okay.
This fat kid named Kirk Bone. Rafe, the kid Rafe, he was a well-known. He was like one of the biggest cats coming up out of DC.
Okay.
He doing life now in prison, but I wound up meeting him, and when he went to jail, that's when I really, basically almost like really took over the town. So I wind up. So things started getting kind of crazy for me. And I was into, like my little man Pop, I was introduced to him by some other cats. And he was a young, wild 15-year-old kid coming out Southeast that was killing anything moving. And he just wanted to be up under somebody that was going to look out for him. So I wound up taking him up under my wing and looking out for him. And through him, I wound up meeting another cat named Wayne Perry. Now this kid here, he had the town on lock, and he had the town locked on fear and was putting his murder game down. You hear me? Anyone who mentioned his name knew, when they mentioned his name, they mentioned murder in the same sentence, because he was about his work. And didn't have no problem with talking about it in front of everybody, and didn't care, and if you tried to go testify or tell on him, he was getting you. So the young kid Pop wound up coming to me saying, yo, my man is in jail, this and that. So his bail was like, I think I had to pay like 10%, which was like $10,000.
Okay.
I wound up giving up the whole $10,000, because I seen the bigger picture.
Right.
I said, if I get this kid out, and the reputation that he has, then all that'll come on my side.
Right.
So I wound up giving up the whole 10, and it was a 10 well worth it. So we're gonna go to New York. We're gonna fly to New York. I'm gonna get with.
Toes. Watch your toes, man. It's all right. There you go. No, Marcus. I'm not letting you go on a suicide mission.
Rich. And I'm gonna find out what the hell is going on.
Okay.
So one thing led to another, and I don't want to go into all, but did I? The question is, did I have anything? Did I kill Rich?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I killed Rich.
How'd that come about? You just put, because everything on the street said that a limousine pulled up.
Huh?
A limousine pulled up and put Richard in the car or something like that.
That's what they said?
Yeah.
No. That's what that didn't happen. That's for them to see later on. That's what that didn't happen. Jealous with me as far as through the people, because the people used to, since I was Alpo, people used to see him with me all the time and think he was working for me.
Right.
Because not until I came to DC, really, he started coming out with like Benzes and all, because he seen what I was doing, so he started busting out with little Benzes and all that type of 300 coupes and all that.
Right.
And I always had the reputation, if you lent me your car, Antoine, automatically that was my car.
Right.
That was my car. And then if they seen you with it, like, oh yeah, he driving Pole car. So time went on. One day, me and him and one of his workers would sit at a table at a restaurant having a sandwich. They know my man, Wayne. My man Wayne, he get to me and say, yo, you about to put a deal together in New York for this, that, and gonna put gas. I said, what the hell? I said, how you know? He said, well, man, my man called me down from law, and he said, Gary told him that, yo, that you want to put this deal together, and it ain't gonna go, he gonna wind up doing you in the process. Just how much anger he built up for me. So I said, oh yeah. So my man was like, yo, let's go. I said, no, we got to do this right now. Can't just be running up on Gary and broad daylight. That's gonna come back to me.
When it was time for him to make a move, he would have to chase people for his money a certain kind of way. So it always held him up a certain kind of how. And it's almost like if he didn't have work to give him, then he had to run behind him. So he's really never fully paid. So if somebody owes you let's use a round number, 200,000, and you in turn go give them another 10 keys at 200,000, you're never really, you're never really just seeing your money to actually do something with it.
Alpo Martinez might seem like a story, all debts are paid and it's over with, but people need to know it's not over with. This is a situation that's gonna live on forever. If anything, even with the strange death in vain, Alpo now is gonna be a figure that will never go away. If he wanted to be a legend forever, well, he cemented that even with his death. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your God bless one. Thank you for watching another episode of Ismokehiphop Live. Love your family, love your kids, and most definitely stay blessed.